Welcome to today's episode of the Group X podcast. I'm your host, Tony Zonato, and if you haven't yet done so, hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. Today, I'll be talking to Wendy Elphinstone, trainer and presenter for Les Mills Asia Pacific. Wendy shares her journey from the early days of fitness to now, how different the process was to become a trainer back then, and her experience in filming masterclasses for 2 different programs. So grab your favourite beverage, sit back, and enjoy the show. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on the show and spending some time with me and having a chat. I greatly appreciate your time.
Pleasure, Tony. I'll always make time for you.
Thank you.
You know that.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you as well. We've chatted a bit over the last couple of years, but not face to face. I haven't seen you in years, so it's nice to sitting here on Zoom and actually see your face as well. So it's you're looking good. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. The lighting is right. I've got a halo.
Love that. Love that. Hey, I'm obviously coming on the show. I'm going to be asking you a lot about you, where you've come from, your background, that kind of stuff. So I want to start right from the beginning. Can you tell me and the listeners how you got into the fitness industry? What was the first experience for you in this space?
Oh gosh, we're going back to probably the early 1990s.
Yeah.
I went to uni, obviously, and let myself get a little bit chubby, as you do when you go to uni.
As you do, yes. Yeah.
You discover alcohol, the pill, and anything that mum hasn't cooked.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I grew up doing dance classes.
Yep.
And even like in my, say, year 11, 12, I ended up teaching dance to little kids.
Okay.
So when I went off to university, I studied to be a teacher.
Yep.
But towards the end of my university career, and probably about 3 sizes up in jeans and you name it, it was time to do something about it. And my friend said, hey, let's go to the gym.
Yep.
And so we went and ended up in a aerobics class.
Yep.
And I just loved it. For me, it was the combination of movement and music.
Yes.
And I was there in my like long legs and leotards, but with a baggy t-shirt over the top. And my parents, you laugh at this, my parents paid for a gym membership. They said, okay, if you want to go, we'll pay.
Yep.
And it was in Launceston at Health and Fitness World. And it was $365 for the year.
Yep.
So you think,
love that,
$1 a day.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if mum and dad have committed to paying that, I will go every day, or every day that I could.
Yeah.
And so from being up the back row in my baggy t-shirt, over time I made it up to the front row, watching myself in the mirror with I lost the t-shirt at some stage. And I just fell in love with, it was like dancing in a way, in its own form, but I just loved the music, the hype and the group and definitely the people up on the stage as well. They were so inspiring. I remember one instructor, Andrea Tiffin, she was like I was in love with her. She was amazing. Yeah. And I know she has taught Les Mills programs for many, many years. I think she still might even be teaching.
Okay.
So then in our final year, we had to choose an elective at uni, and they had the fitness leaders course, which would actually equate to 3 and 4 in fitness.
Okay. Yes.
So I thought, I'll do that. I'll learn to, be an instructor. And so I did the theory course, and then it turned out that instead of going down the group fitness line, I ended up doing resistance training.
Okay, yes.
And so I was trained as someone who could write programs and do, all the measurements and skin folds and that. It was before personal trainers.
Yep.
Kerry, and I remember Kerry McAvoy trained me, and he was a big name back in the 1990s. He was the one rep max man.
Yep.
And saying, go home and grow. I remember that. It was
Yep.
like, do your training and then go home and grow.
Yeah.
So resistance training was my thing. I was one of the women like in the weight room.
Yep.
I was quite big at the start. So, like I scurried around.
Yeah.
I was going to say like a mouse, but I was like the size of a house.
Yeah.
Trying to, and have you finished with that bench? Or like, and not getting eye contact with the big fellas.
Yeah.
But I love weight training, and then probably about 6 months later, I did the exercise to music module, and that's when and actually circuits were the big thing.
Yes.
Funny that they're the big thing now as well.
Yep. So all swings around.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yes.
So that was my introduction, and then of course coming into trying to get classes, but it was all freestyle. Like had to make it up myself.
Yeah.
And I was shit.
So we're talking like the old. I love that. That's a complete honesty there, guys. I was shit.
I was shit. I remember like I could do it and I could teach it. I just couldn't make it up.
This is the Group X podcast.
So, I'd go to all their workshops and be totally inspired.
Yep.
And then come back and I'd be just unable to create anything from scratch.
I remember
that was.
I remember doing Cert 3 when I did it. Obviously, 2003 it would obviously been a bit different to when you had done it, but doing it in 2003, and I decided to do the group fitness module or the group fitness module of it. I got help because I had no idea. I'd been riding bikes. I'd been riding indoor bikes. That's all I ever did in the gym. Ride the bikes, go and lift the weights. Ride the bike, go and lift the weights. When I decided I wanted to do group fitness side of things, I had to do this freestyle routine. I had to go for 3.5 minutes. Now, 3.5 minutes when you're used to riding a bike, I was going all over Sydney to Amanda Breen's classes, to Chris Hutton's classes, to everybody else's class that I could imagine that I knew would do a Karen Brook. Just to do those classes to try and get an understanding of what I could do and steal their moves because, okay, grapevine this, walk back march this, do this, all that. I'm a male. Yeah. I got 2 left feet, and they pedal a bike. They don't do anything else apart from that. Yeah. It's a challenge. So I understand completely where you're coming from with that. It's the actual
creative process that I still like even now when I get a new release for Body Stat, I just am amazed at how Mark New puts those moves to that music. And they're basically there's like probably only 4 or 5 base moves. But it's just, the twist and the way you put them together, it's I don't know. I can't even verbalize it, let alone do it. So anyway, I ended up teaching some classes at a gym very badly. And also I was doing personal training even before there was such a thing as personal training. And the owner of the club said to me, hey, there's this thing that's coming to Australia and it's called Pump. And it's weight training in a class. And I went, sign me up straight away, I just loved weights.
The best of both worlds for you there. It was group fitness and weight training. It's like, hello.
Yeah. And then, of course, they look so cool. With the pictures with the glasses and the bandanas and the Mike McSweeney outfits and, of course, Emma Barry looking like an absolute goddess. So I just wanted to be that then. And, it was 1995, I think. And I trained on Body Pump 20.
Wow.
And that was with Pete Manuel. And it changed. It sounds so corny, but it changed my life. It changed my life in every sense of the term I just felt like the clouds had parted, that the sun came out, the sky was blue.
Yep.
Here's the choreography. Here's the music.
Yep.
Now just go work the
Go do it.
magic, you know, and
Yep.
learn it and then work the magic. And it really did change my whole, fitness career thereafter.
Body Pump 20.
But also Body Pump 20. Yeah. So last release, the last release was my 100th release of, because it was 119. So I counted, I went, hang on, no, 120 isn't my 100th. It's 119 is my 100th. So,
Wowee. That's awesome. I love that.
A fair few squat tracks.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Yes. Wow. And hasn't music changed over that period of time compared to what it was back on that release to where we are now? It's not, I'm not going to say music choice for the program, but just music in general for group fitness. You know, you look at what music was in the 90s compared to what was in the early 2000s to even the 2010s, and then now in 2020, or now in what are we in? 2022. Where the last 2 years go? Jesus Christ. COVID, you bastard.
Somewhere I turned 50 in there too. So Christ almighty, like.
I'm catching you. I'm catching you. We won't tell people how old I am, but I'm catching you. I'm catching you. But it's just in that music, you know, what you were saying before around fitness to music, it's changed and evolved so much from some Pump 20. I mean, I remember back in the days for me for North Sydney and when Shannon was there and borrowing some of her CDs back then just to listen to some of the music and some of the old stuff. I think I've still got it on my laptop. It's gold. Gold. I love the old stuff. It's a workout.
And as soon as
you know what it is. You know from doing it so many times, you hear the music and you're like, that's 3, 1, 2, 2, 4, 1. Yeah, I got that. Yep.
Well,
four,
that's
4,
how it kind of, that was how it kind of was in the early days. You could, without looking at the choreo, you knew what the backtrack was going to be.
But that was what made it so good. It was, you know, we knew the workout, but it was the music that sort of got you and went, come on, this is it. It was actually, not saying it's not brilliant now, people that are listening. I'm still on board with the music and stuff, but that's my era back in the
it was a different era as well. It was so the music in the, let's say the turn of the millennium. It was really uplifting. It was very, you know, it wasn't, I'm not going to say poppy, but that dance house kind of music, it was its own genre, you know. So when music started really to evolve away from instruments into more electronic online stuff, and the sounds that they were able to get just changed everything. And it's, you know, don't get me wrong, I still love going to see a live band. You know, I think that you can't beat going to see a live band, watching someone drums, guitar, bass, singing, doing all that kind of stuff. But there is still talent in watching someone get software on a computer and put something together and make that happen is amazing. Yeah.
This is the Group X podcast. Pump was your first program that you trained in.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and it was that weekend. It was that weekend with Pete. It was actually, I think it was 3 days. So you come back 2 weeks later.
2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, wow.
But it was then that I just knew straight away that I didn't want his job. I wanted to do what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a difference too. You know, some people go, I want your job. No, you don't have to have my job.
Yes.
You can
still be in this space and do what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Follow your own path and see what happens. Yeah. But I don't know whether it was the school teacher in me that wanted to, you know, educate in this field or what. Yep. But, you know, and having trained as a school teacher at the same time as becoming an instructor, it kind of made a bit of sense to but I didn't think along those lines. I didn't tell anybody for quite a while. And so I just started teaching pump and badly freestyle steps still.
Hey, you were doing it. You were doing it. That's the main thing. You're out there giving it a shot.
Yeah, but pump was definitely the number one love.
Yep.
And then it was, I think it was 3 years later, I had just trained in body step.
Yep.
And we went off to a network convention, and in the opening address, so like from Tassie, flew to Sydney, go to do a network convention. It's a Patsy Tierney. Yeah, Patsy Tierney. She was like 3 times runner-up world champion, I think. She was always, like the bridesmaid, and she gave up.
Yep.
She thought, well, that's it. That's as far as I'm ever going to go. And I think she said she retired for about 6 months, and then she said, I'm not done.
Yep.
And so she went back to training and went back to basics, and she won. So she became world champion after that. And so she made us say to the person next to us a little dream that we'd had, that we hadn't told anybody. So, because she said, when you share your hopes and dreams, they're more likely to come true.
Yeah.
And so I looked at the girl beside me, and who was a friend and an instructor, and I said, oh, I want to be a Les Mills body pump trainer. Yep. And I was expecting her to go, oh, fuck off.
Reality.
Yeah. Come back to earth, minion.
Oh, you're awesome.
and she just went, you'd be great.
Yep.
And I went, oh. And I think it's actually what spurred me to go, okay, well, I'll just send an email.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know,
Yep.
I'll just send an email to Les Mills, because we were the beginning ones. I think we, like Body Pump 20, I think there'd been like some trainings on Body Pump 19, but then basically, it had kind of taken off.
Yeah.
So there was no real processes as to how you become a trainer like there are now.
Yeah.
So I just sent an email, and the email ended up going to a man by the name of John Kelly.
Yes.
And
wow.
And I heard back from John Kelly and Wayne Lacey. Remember Wayne?
No, I don't think I met. Or no.
He was the first training manager.
Okay. Yep.
And he's Canberra based.
Yep.
So heard back, and they said, thanks for your inquiry, but we're not really looking for anybody from Tasmania. And I said, okay, well, thanks for your time. Just to let you know, travel isn't an issue. If that's something you would like me to do, I would happily do it. I don't feel like I need to stay within Tasmania.
Yep.
And I think it was 4 weeks later, I got an email saying, well, we've got a train the trainer coming up. And so if you send us a video, VHS, and by then I'd only been teaching body step 3 months. I think I had 1 release under my belt.
Yep.
And I just got certification, so because you'd send your whole video in.
Yep.
And so they said, send us a video of your classes, and we'll let you know.
Yep.
And then, I got invited to go to Sydney to attend the Train the Trainer for Body Step.
Yep.
Yeah. So for not Body Pump, but for Body Step. And I, I was crapping my pants because I'd been what I considered the world's worst, freestyler.
Yeah. Yeah.
to all of a sudden going, and now you're possibly going to be on the training team for Body Step.
Wow.
Oh, great. Oh shit. Fuck.
So, run me through what was going through your head when you rocked up to this training session. What were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Well, I had to fly to Sydney from little old Tassie.
Yep.
And I had no idea even where I was. I'd been to Sydney before, but, to actually find yourself. This is in the days before there was mobile phones or I didn't have a mobile. Or did I? Oh, I can't remember. See, I'm getting old.
Turn it up.
no Google Maps.
No, Christ, no Ubers, none of that kind of crap. It was you'd get in a taxi and this address, please. Yeah, and you're not being from Sydney. Like, okay, I hope like hell this guy's going to get me to the right place. And don't ask me for directions, buddy.
I had to go to a travel agent to get me a accommodation near the event. I remember it was the Manly Leagues Club.
Oh, wow.
Was where where I was going.
Yep.
And I had no idea. I knew where Manly was, and I still don't know. I can't remember where or not the hotel was. But anyway, I ended up in this hotel.
Yep.
And then I think I was just like a little mouse.
Yep.
I went to the venue. I found the venue at the Leagues Club, and I'd never even seen a Leagues Club before. Yep. Like it was like, oh, we're going to a footy club. What the hell?
Yeah.
Is this a casino?
Yeah.
Because like in Tassie, we didn't have anything like, we have football clubs, but not like pokies and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went there, and I felt like I belonged, like that because I'd been invited and that sort of thing. But then I just felt very out of my depth.
Yep.
But I must say, like, I people might think that I'm very out there, but I'm not. The way I present myself, people probably think that I'm really social, but I'm not.
Yep.
I'm actually I'm the person, if I went to a party and I didn't know many people, I'd probably hang to the side and then I'd probably make a graceful exit. Because, so I was kind of hanging on the perimeter, and there was probably only about 15 of us anyway.
Yep.
And I remember seeing Lisa Osborne there, and Lisa had trained me. So, that was at least somebody I knew.
Yeah.
And I met John Kelly. John was there.
Yep.
And then there was this girl. She was tallish like me, and very black hair and amazing striking features. And she came up to me and she said, "My name's Shaz." And we became lifelong friends. So that's Sharon Susie.
Yep.
And that's why I get choked up, because she's my best mate.
I love that.
She's my best mate. And she said, "Are you nervous?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Oh, come here." And she gave me a big hug. And ever since then,
Thank you for sharing this with us. Seriously,
thick and thin.
I can see, like, the listeners can't see, but I can see how this is. But thank you, because that's the authentic stuff we were talking about before coming on to record this. That's the unique stuff about you that I think so many people are going to gel with. You said that you're not that type of person that's really outgoing, and it's funny that the people that I've interviewed so far for this, almost everyone's the same. That you know what, you've got a skill set that's bloody amazing. You guys are fantastic, and I know that I'm not the only one saying it. There's so many people that are going to be listening. They're going to be going, yeah, Tone, you're right. These people you're talking to, and you are one of them, that are, you have a unique skill set that is fucking awesome. Yeah, you when you're out there, and you said, you're a bit shy and that kind of stuff, that doesn't come through at all. None of that comes through. You say that you go to a party and you sit there at the side of the room. When you first said it, I smiled, because I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. That's not the Wendy I know. But it is. But the good thing that I think is group fitness not covers it, but it brings out a different side of you. Yeah. You ooze control when you're up there. People are hanging off every word you say, and that's huge for not an introvert. Maybe introvert's not the right word to use to describe, but extroverted introvert when you're up on stage. Yeah, someone that really comes out and does it.
That's what it is, isn't it? Extroverted introvert.
Yeah,
I think that's what they say.
Yeah.
So,
but seriously, thank you for sharing that emotion with us on that. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
I've got to look, I want to try and get in contact with Shaz as well, and see if I can get her on the show. So yeah, Shaz, if you're listening, watch out. You're coming. I'm coming after you.
Yeah, coming after you. But so we got the choreography for the next release.
Yep.
A couple of days before, like the cassette arrived in the mail.
Oh, gold. The cassettes. That was before CDs.
Yep. And the photocopied notes and the video.
Yeah.
And I had to learn it before I got there. And then we got a track. I hadn't even taught the track, and had to present it to Lisa Osborne and John Kelly. And I had to teach everybody else.
Wow.
I can't remember it, but I must have done okay because they didn't
tell you to go home and pack your bags.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I remember it. That night, after the first night, I went back to the hotel and I phoned my family and I said, I don't think I belong here. And they said, why? And I just said, I don't know. I'm just overwhelmed. And
Yep.
but I, clearly was committed to going the second day.
Yeah.
And no one ever made me feel like I wasn't welcome. It was just my own insecurity. I think,
internal stuff.
That's brilliant. A lot of negative internal dialogue, which is based just on insecurity and I guess lack of confidence.
Yeah. I think we've all got that in some way, shape, or form, and I think as group fitness instructors, it helps. Being a group fitness instructor helps deal with that and helps put that in its place when it needs to be put in its place. We can. I'm not going to say act when we get up on stage, but it is almost like an act. You get up on stage, you're in front of a class of people. You're there to do your job. You do your job and you do it well. You can get off the stage and crumble to pieces if you need to after, but it's when you're up there doing it. It is what it is. I love hearing that. I love hearing that story of you going in there and that. So what happened on day 2? How did day 2 go?
Yeah, day 2 was good. Yep. So we had to present, and then it was similar to what a lot of modules are like. Yep. You receive feedback and then I think, well, basically that weekend it was all about body step and going through the module itself and what it looked like and that sort of thing. And I think they were also testing the waters to see, were the people who were there the right fit for the team as well.
Yep.
So, and were you able, we might have even had to have presented a little piece of the module.
Yes. Yep.
We might have.
Yep.
So, don't hold me to that.
No. Right, fact check that one, everyone. Fact check that one. No, that's brilliant.
This is the Group X podcast.
I want to ask you a question in relation to your first module training that you did alone.
Alone.
Where was it? How was it?
I think my very first one, so it was back in the day of like no Google Maps, right? So I got flown to Melbourne and had to go and teach in Geelong. I've never been to Geelong before.
Yep. I have never been. So, yeah. I get off the plane in Melbourne, turn me around 3 times and I'm screwed. Even just getting off the plane, I'm like, what? Where? Okay, right. Well, okay, I'll follow someone else.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be like that, like in Sydney, I love Sydney, but I don't know. I can't even remember what life would be like without like Google Maps.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
I had a TomTom when I was living in Canberra.
Yep.
The TomTom. Yeah. So that I was so dependent on the good old TomTom.
Yep.
But okay, so I'd never had driven a hire car before. And they said, right, so we're going to fly you in. And so Wayne used to organise this. And we're going to fly you in and you've got to go get your hire car. So I felt super grown up. You're going to have to drive to Geelong and you're going to have to be there by, I think because like I had a 6 a.m. flight out of Tassie, it's only an hour flight.
Yep.
So I think we had a bit of a delayed start because it's a good hour's drive to Geelong.
Yep.
So, they'd pretty well had it down to the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But I didn't know how to read a Melways map. It's a book.
Yes.
My dad, when I was growing up, my dad was obsessed with maps, and even giving him a map as a gift was amazing. He loved it.
Yep.
But I'd never like seen a book.
Yeah. Yep.
A book, and then you've got to turn and you've got to drive, and so I ended up driving the wrong direction, and I was driving to Greensboro. So Melbourneites will know what I'm talking about. Basically, if you're having to drive west towards Geelong. I was going like northeast.
Oh, wow.
And in the end, by then I'd got myself a mobile phone. I realized, oh, maybe I do need one of those things.
Yeah.
And I called my good friend who had moved back to Geelong from Tassie and or to Melbourne. And she talked me through actually getting into Geelong. And I think I was about an hour late. It was hell. Hell on wheels. But those instructors in Geelong were the most amazing, kind people.
Yep.
That it was amazing. And we went for pizza that night. And
brilliant.
I think I bumbled my way through the whole weekend. And some of them are still teaching to this day.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. You obviously landed the content with them, so that's perfect. Yeah, even though it was it was an hour late. You were probably frazzled, I should say, as you've walked in, but managed to pull it all together and yeah.
This is the Group X podcast.
You've been invited on masterclass presentations in New Zealand. Yep. Can you share with us how the first one happened, how that came about? Because I'm interested in knowing that, and I'm sure that a lot of listeners are as well. How did that opportunity present itself to you? When I say a young little girl from Tassie to be on something like that, how did it happen?
Well, it was. It's kind of interesting because I'd actually been on the training team. So I came on the training team in 1999, and 12 years later, I got the call up.
Yep.
So that's a long time to be on the training and presenting team, to, see a lot of people around you being invited to work their magic.
Yep.
And share their amazing skills on a masterclass.
Yeah.
And, be happy for them, but also be patient,
Yep.
And I guess in a way I'm lucky that my mum always brought us up saying patience is a virtue.
Yeah.
I mean, why isn't hurry the fuck up a virtue?
Yeah.
But anyway,
I love you. You are
so
awesome. Yeah.
So trashy. But it was 12 years later. And I just got a message. Oh yeah, because I'd done lots of phylexes and such for body step and body pump, and I just got but Martin and I always got on really well, and we'd be sharing like, hey, what about this music and that sort of thing. And then I got a private message from him off Facebook, and he said, hey, I'm putting your name forward, and it won't be for this year, but it'll be for next year. And I'm like, I looked at the message, and I was actually with another body step presenter at the time who had I'd been working with.
Yeah.
And I just sort of stared at this message and then showed her. It was Rachel at the time, and I was like, can you read that? Because I think I'm reading something wrong. It's been 12 years. I've been an instructor, Les Mills instructor for 15.
Yeah.
So to actually get that message, it was a massive shock. I was just I guess in a way it had been something I'd wanted for so long.
Yep.
And then had to make peace with the fact that I had done so much already.
Yes.
And what I had done and achieved, being a trainer, being a presenter, doing phylexes, being flown all over Australia to really wonderful places like Mount Newman in the Pilbara, Alice Springs, Darwin, like all these things that a little girl from Tasmania who just thought that she was just going to be a teacher and get married and have a baby boy and a baby girl. That was my goal. So I'd achieved all these things that I never thought I would.
Yeah.
And I've made peace with, if that's as far as I go,
Yep.
then then please don't be dissatisfied with that, because there's so many people who would just, love to be up on that Twi'lek stage.
Yeah.
And don't ever underrate that. And I don't know whether then that's something inside of me shifted. And when they say letting go often opens up doors. So it happened. And I went to New Zealand for Body Step 91.
Yep.
And once again, I felt like that girl who was in Manly who leads club in Sydney all over again.
What was that?
Working with Mark.
What was that experience like? What was I've obviously heard it from Rachel's side of things, but I'd love to hear your experience, and I'm going to assume it was probably quite different back then to what it would be now. That filming experience.
For me, it was really overwhelming.
Yep.
It was overwhelming because not that I didn't feel ready.
Yep.
It was overwhelming for the fact that I can't remember how many people came to New Zealand to be there.
Support,
Oh God, now I'm going to cry again. I think there was about 30.
Wow.
Or more people.
And then came over.
And then some people had organised to have Team Wendy T-shirts printed that I didn't. So
I love
on
that.
The day when I walk out on the stage,
our instructors are fucking awesome. Just quietly, when you've got a team like that are there to support you, and
One of the girls who Shaz was there, of course.
Yep.
And a few of my other best friends, and Chris Hutton came. At the time, he was in charge of the Body Step team.
Yeah.
And Steve Clough was there, and they actually, because they came over, they were invited to be part of the athletic circuit filming as well. So that was amazing.
Cool.
And one of the girls who is part of one of my first trainings, from Tasmania, she came over.
Awesome.
And I've known her since she's 17. So that's Rhea, who is Sammy Winter's fiance.
Oh, okay.
Now.
Yeah. Love it.
So
cool.
Yeah, so it was just really overwhelming and with love.
Yep.
And I would have to say that that you look back on your life and certain times in your life that were your favorite parts.
Yeah.
And that was one of my most favorite weeks of my entire life.
Yep.
It was just amazing. I was there, like Mark New, Lisa Osborne, Susan Tolley, Renata, Sarah Robinson, and me. So like these fucking legends. And
exactly.
me.
No, stop. Fucking legends. Yeah. all. Yeah.
But we had worked so often together anyway over the years that I just felt an integral part of it.
Yeah.
The only thing at the time that I'd say was learning was the fact that at the time they were changing the coaching model and there was a lot more structure.
Yep.
So I also learned a lot that I could come back and share.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the part of filming that's the most important thing, I think, as a presenter and a trainer, is the learning that you get from it at the time.
Yep.
Because it's something that you just can't buy.
Yep.
It just happens
a life experience
at the time. And you learn a lot while you're there. And it's just a lot about yourself and how you perform under pressure and how then you structure your presentation. And it's just a tiny little moment in time. It's like a track or two.
Yep.
But it's you learn a lot about yourself.
Yep.
And I also learn, that I think I have this thing, now I've read about it, but it's called Imposter Syndrome, where you don't believe you are the person or in that position, or that you deserve to be there. It's like, say for example, I'm a special needs teacher.
Yep.
And I feel like I should be the expert in everything special needs then if I'm the teacher. But I learn something every day, and therefore I have a moment every now and then going, am I right for this job? And it's the same sort of thing with presenting, and especially on masterclasses. It's like, you know, people go, oh, that's amazing, you're this, you're that, you know, because you've been on a masterclass. And it's like, hang on a minute, like I'm just little old me from Tasmania who, you know, who just thought that she was going to be a teacher or a mum, and that was it. And so it's the good old imposter syndrome. It can actually do your head in at times. But you just got to keep it in check and go, hang on a minute. I mean, I guess the opposite is where ego takes over too far. That don't help either.
True. This is the Group X podcast.
How many masterclasses have you done now in all programs? What, and because I know you're on pump and step.
Yeah, I did body pump 102. And oh gosh, I think I've done 4 body step. So I've just done 1 pump, and then body step 91, 108, 119 in Sydney. And then the United release.
Okay, yes, brilliant.
And it might sound crazy, but I think the United release might have been my favourite.
Really?
Oh
no, that's where did you? Because you filmed that. I remember seeing pictures. You filmed that in front of not in a lighthouse, in front of a pavilion of some
Princess Pier.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pier, an old pier in Melbourne. Where the
amazing backdrop.
Amazing. Yeah. So basically, that was, I think, the migration after like World War II, where all the ships came in, and you know, like all the Europeans were, you know, I guess processed, and then they came in to make a new life in Australia. So I chose that because, well, it looked nice, but also the surface, like for me, I freak out if the surface is uneven, and especially in step. Like if that thing isn't sturdy, I'm freaking out. I don't like anything slippery underfoot. I don't know why step is my thing, because like fall down all the time. But I just loved it because I think maybe because at the time the world was really locked down, and it gave me an outlet or an opportunity to feel connected at a different level. So I must say, you know, I'm kind of lucky because my backdrop did look really good. I got lots of opportunities to be shown on DVD.
Good choice. That's I remembered seeing it, and it was an image that is just stuck with me. It's like, you know what, that looks amazing, and I'm sure that the experience of filming that yourself and then putting the whole thing together and watching it has been brilliant for everyone involved. So well done.
No, it was lovely. It was such an honor to be asked. You know, it always has been an honor to be asked to be on a masterclass. You know, it I guess in a way it does feel sometimes like it's confirmation that you have achieved a certain level in your life. I remember when I filmed Body Step and Body Pump for the first time, one of the things I really wanted was just for people to be able to go, oh, that's my trainer. She trained me. She's still around. Oh my God, she's still around. And I guess then, you know, because we all love to see our trainer on the master classes as well. You know, that person trained me. So that was something I really wanted the people who I trained to say, hey, I'm here. Hello.
Wendy, what does the future hold for you in group fitness space? Are you hanging around? Are you thinking about hanging the shoes up soon? What are you doing? Are you with us for a while?
Yeah. And you know, like I have considered pulling back. I have pulled back a little bit. I must say, like at the moment, I'm a presenter. I'm not a trainer anymore, so I'm not doing any initial training modules. We have so many great young, inspired trainers coming on board, or who I have can I say that again? Who have come on board.
Yep.
That, you know, when it came time for me to do modules, I was like, yep, okay, tick the box and off we go.
Yep.
And then I'd see these young ones come in, they're so excited. And I thought, hang on a minute, maybe I need to move aside so that these guys get more opportunities.
Yeah.
And the trainees deserve that as well. You know, like I wouldn't say I was over it.
Yep.
I was just not as enthusiastic
Yep.
as the newbies. And that
Yes.
makes sense because like I've been doing it for 20 years.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm now presenting.
Yep.
And I have said if needed for day 3s, then, you know, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm still at a club level. I'm still teaching 6 days a week.
Yep.
So
awesome.
Working full time and still teaching body pump, body step and RPM.
Yep.
Out of school hours.
Yeah.
And I guess in a way, like I started thinking about it because like I'm 52 and I feel that, you know, we still need some representation of this age bracket. And I hate to say that because 20 years ago, I would have been thinking like, oh God, please, you know, I don't want anybody 50 on the team. And now I'm here.
It's still, look, I'm going to say age is totally irrelevant when it comes to group fitness. And the only reason I ask is because I've obviously not teaching at the moment, and I know that there's a few people that I met when I first started that are no longer teaching or have started to change what they're teaching or dwindle away from teaching and pull away. But I think that's also, you know, those that I'm thinking of have been doing it not full time, but probably, you know, 15 to 20 classes a week. It is a full time gig for them, even though it's not 40-hour a week type thing. It's still a full time gig, and I think as we get away from being younger. How's that for saying not old? Away from being as young as what we were, we get to that stage where family and lifestyle changes. You know, we're not doing those things anymore because you want to do different things in your life. You want to experience more things and that kind of stuff. And I think that's why that was the reason why I asked the question, is just to sort of get an understanding on where you're at with it. I mean, I know that myself and a lot of people, a lot of listeners will be like, Wendy, don't you ever retire. Stop. No. Keep going. Keep going. Just keep going. We're going to support you. Just get in there and do it. And it's being around for that long. You've got a lot of followers, and thank you for doing what you do. You know,
a pleasure. Level. You know, like it's to me it's a lifestyle.
Yep.
And I guess in a way, when it does come time to step away from the actual, say, like training and presenting space, it will be a massive thing for me because it is something that I've really kind of wrapped my identity around as well.
Yep.
And it will be a huge end of an era for me, and it will take a lot of adjustment.
Yeah.
And I'm not, obviously not ready to go yet. Maybe it might be a little shift or in perhaps some programs or something.
Yep.
Like as the joints may wear out in time, who knows? But I'm still teaching. I think I'm averaging 8 classes a week.
Yep.
And I'm happy doing, quarterlies and stuff like that. And I just enjoy sharing the love in a way. And I do feel it's important to represent my age group because, in all honesty, most of the people in our classes are this age.
100%. Yep. You know, it's so true. I remember that from my days at Lesmer's working head office. You go around to clubs and have a chat to people, and the instructors' age group was getting older and older and older, and there didn't seem at that stage to be a whole lot of new trainers or new instructors coming through to do it. And you look at who's in front of you. You know, the majority of them are our age. Yeah, there's not a lot of young ones. Yeah. In some different programs, there are some of the young ones, but in the programs that have been around for pump and step and even RPM that have been around for a long time, the people that are in them are around our age group. And I think it's great that you are still doing what you're doing because it shows them, you know what, I can, so can you. Let's go. Yeah, do this together. So,
Just might need a bit more recovery.
Yeah. Bit of WD-40 on the joints. We're good. We're
A
good.
few more massages and actually start respecting the body rather than, you know.
Yep. I hear you.
Rather than just go. Probably can't do 3 classes in a row now.
Yes.
Just 2.
1.5. Do that last one's a 30-minute class. We're good. Express class. Hey, last. Sorry.
You're right, darling. Yes.
No, I was going to say last question before we wrap up, because I know that I've spent a good chunk of your time on a Friday night here, and we could probably chat for another 3 or 4 hours. But I want to.
I've got to go learn Corey.
Yeah. Okay. We'll tie it up then. But hey, what bit of advice can you give someone that's looking to do what you've done, looking to be a trainer, looking to be a presenter, aspiring to be on a masterclass? What bit of advice could you give them from your years of doing what you're doing?
I think obviously the number one thing would be to follow the right path to get where you want to go. So, like if you want to be an instructor, well, go through the processes and do it properly and see it through to the end. If you want to be a presenter, find out what the processes are and fulfill those requirements. Like, there's no sense trying to find shortcuts or looking outside the lane to see if, or how did that person get there? Just go through the processes and do it right, because at the end of the day, that comes down to integrity, and integrity is a great quality you need to have as an instructor, presenter, trainer, masterclass presenter, and the more that you become somebody in the public eye in whatever arena you're in, if you don't have integrity, people see through it. I reckon another thing is, be yourself. You can't be anybody other than yourself. And I know these all sound very obvious, but if you're not genuine, then how can you actually shine if you're trying to be somebody else?
Someone you're not. Yeah.
You got to shine in your own light, be you. And I think in a way, sometimes that becomes more apparent as you get more trips around the sun. The older you get, the more you become more comfortable in going, well, this is me,
Love it.
So I guess in a way, don't be in a rush.
Yep.
And, like with me, 12 years it took to get on a masterclass. And I do recall, and I won't name the person, but there was one presenter trainer who one day broke down into tears and said, it's been 6 years and I still haven't been invited. And I think I need to give up. I'm never going to achieve that goal, and that's my goal.
Wow.
And I said to them, if I'd have said that, then I never would have achieved what I did.
Yeah.
And at 6 years, I was only halfway there.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. And in the universe,
everyone's on a different journey. You can't replicate what has happened to somebody that may have gotten there in 2 years compared to what's happened to you. Everyone's journey is different. And I like what you've said with that, because it's like saying, stay in your lane and just do it. Just do you.
Yeah.
Be you. Be just natural. Be 100% you. If it's meant to happen for you, it's going to happen for you. Don't try and force yourself into it. You can suck up to all the right people you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't have it, you don't have it. If you do, you do. And
it happens, for the right reason.
Yeah.
And I think, and when you say about like sucking up, I don't have those skills. And I have seen other people who are amazing at those skills.
Yeah.
And I have seen opportunities come their way and I've missed out, and I've been, a bit like baby in the corner.
Yeah.
And I've had to be at peace with missing out on opportunities.
Yeah.
But once again, maybe the opportunities aren't the ones that were meant for me anyway.
No, I think you and I are on the same page with that. It's strong believers of it. If what's meant to be will be. Yeah. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You can push it, but if you push it, is it real? Is it authentic? No. Was it genuine? No. And I'm going to say most of those people, and God, there's probably going to be some people that hate me for saying this, but tough shit, whatever. My podcast, if you don't like it, listen somewhere else. It's those that push it aren't real people. They're fake. They're fake for a reason, and they're what I class as the Pavarottis. As people probably listen to me enough know that I class those Pavarottis as those me's that are all in it about them. They're not in it about other people. They just want that stardom, and that's fine if that's what you're after. But don't be fake about it. Just be real. Be you, because you're going to have more enjoyment on the journey.
Well, trust me, I've still got footprints. Yeah. From other people running right up my back as I've clambered to get to the top. Yeah. And they got there. But guess what? I'm still here. They're not. Yeah. No, I love that. And that's the thing, like I just think if it's something that you really enjoy and if it's something you really want, persist and be patient. Yeah. And a dear friend of mine who I trained him. He would know exactly the date, but I think it might have been 2008, around then. So he's always wanted to be on the team, and he's done everything possible, that Les Mills has asked. Yep. And a couple of weeks ago, he made it. Excellent. He's just been appointed to the team. Yep. But how many years have passed? Yeah. Yep. And it hasn't been easy being patient for him. Yep. But, I've always said to him, just hang in there and you just be your authentic self. Yep. You do you, boo. Yep. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Yeah. And awesome. It fucking did. Excellent. Well done, whoever that is. Well done. I love hearing that. Stories are brilliant. Yeah. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on the show and having a chat with me and sharing your life and your we could
story.
Keep talking, but I know.
Look, we'll turn it off and we'll still keep talking anyway. But no, seriously, thank you so much for saying yes when I asked you to come on. Thank you for spending your time with me and sharing. I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that will jump on and listen to this and gel with your story as well. So from me to you and on behalf of all them, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. It's always a pleasure, and I feel privileged that you asked me, Tony.
You're welcome.
So,
cool.
Thank you.